Hi there, students. To flick. A flick. So look. Whoops. With a flick of his finger. Okay, a flick is a short, quick movement. Maybe with your finger, or maybe it's a brushing movement, or a sweeping movement, or a flipping movement. Okay, it's a short, sudden jerk. With a flick of his wrist, he flicked the horse's reins. With a flick of his head, he left the room. Okay, so it's a sudden movement. Or to make something move with a sudden movement or a jerk. He flicked the switch to flick on, to flick off, switch on, switch off. He flicked the piece of paper. He flicked the frisbee to his friend. Okay, so it's a sudden movement. You could flick through a magazine is to look through something or look through the parts of something with quick finger movements. He flicked the page. Yeah, he flicked to the next page. Okay, he flicked through the magazine. He flicked the hair out of his eyes as well. But that's going back to the last one. So to flick through a magazine. Notice as well, we can also use the word a flick, or more commonly, the flicks, meaning the cinema. Do you want to go to the flicks tonight? What's your favourite flick? I suspect this word flick and flicks is a little bit old-fashioned, but you'll tell me if I'm wrong with that. Okay, so he flicked his hair out of his eyes. He flicked the Zippo lighter open. Okay, so a flick, it's a sudden jerk, a sudden movement. Notice you also have the verb to flicker, where the lights or the power supply flicks on and off and on and off. A flickering light, a flickering candle. It's bright and then it's not bright. It's bright and then it's not bright. Yeah? Intermittent, if you like. Now, there's another meaning as well with flick, completely different. A group of rabbits or hares is a flick of hares. This is a question for Trivial Pursuit. People don't know this one. Yeah, in English, the collective noun for groups of different animals, there are many different ones, and it's a flick of rabbits or a flick of hares. So, just for your information. But to flick, a short jerk, a short brushing motion. You flick the paper. He flicked the dust off his arm. He flicked me away with a flick of his hand. Yeah? Now, what about formality? Well, I think to flick is a neutral word. It describes a movement. You could use it in an informal conversation in the pub, and I think with a flick of his hand, it's something you could use in a very formal document as well. So that's flexible. But notice, flick on, flick off becomes a phrasal verb, and I would make this maybe a little less formal. I wouldn't use flick on or flick off in a very formal document. And then this meaning the flicks, a film or the cinema, this is informal. Yeah, only in an informal conversation. Cinema or film in something semi-formal or more formal. And a flick of rabbits, this is probably quite formal, probably something like a 7. It's an unusual word. Okay, what about the origin? Well, in Old English, there's a word ficorean, meaning to flutter in the wind. And they're related words in Dutch and German, but the origin they don't have a clear idea as to it. Okay, so to flick, you flick a piece of paper, you flick a stone. I'm sure you've all flicked pieces of paper at your schoolmates in class, yeah? So there you go. Oh, one more thing, to flick is a regular verb. Flick, flicked, flicked, so no problems there. If you enjoyed the video, give it a rating, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now. To flick.